Assalamu alaikum. So how are you? Are you happy to be here? I am. I think TEDxHarlem is great. And I feel so great about being a part of it. And I want to give you a little bit of a history of myself. I'm somewhat of a Harlemite. When I came out of medical school in 1975, I did 6 years of surgery at Harlem Hospital on 135th Street, living at the Lenox Terrace Apartments on 132nd Street. And in that period of time, in 1979, the chief of surgery at Harlem Hospital, Dr. Harold P. Freeman, published a study in the New England Journal of Medicine showing that the life expectancy of a resident of Harlem was less than the life expectancy in Bangladesh. Bangladesh being the poorest country in the world at that time, and we all scratched our heads. We couldn't figure out why would that be the case. And as a matter of fact, it took me many, many years to figure it out, and the cat's already been left out of the bag. The reason that life expectancy in Harlem is so diminished, the life potential for survival is so weak, is because Harlem then and Harlem now is a food desert. So let's begin. My topic, original food and human potential. Everybody knows what food is. How many of you had food today? How many of you want some more food today? Well, actually, maybe you don't know what food is. And certainly you don't necessarily know what is in the food that you're eating. And so before you leave here, maybe you'll have a clear idea about that, and you'll know some things that you can do to be clear about that. Because if you are not clear about that one thing, then that other phrase there, human potential, is in danger. Now, if everybody knows what food is, almost nobody knows what human potential is. We just can't put a definition on human potential. One of the reasons why we're loving it so much at TEDx, and I want to thank Marcus and his team for putting this thing on. Give them a hand. It is because they are showing us through TEDxHarlem what human potential is all about. Isn't that what you love? You love to see creativity. You love to see what other human beings are able to do. It lets you know what your potential is. Is that right? I want to give a shout out to the Power Study Group from Howard University, of which Marcus was once a part. But when we say human potential, we're talking about something that is very, very weighty. Like in that rostrum right over there, this coming Wednesday, April the 4th, 45 years ago, Dr. Martin Luther King was standing right there giving his famous anti-war speech. And human potential is such a powerful thing that there are many people in this world who are frightened to death of the unfolding of human potential. And they heard a man speak against their war, and they knew that that man had overthrown segregation. He had already integrated the South. He had already changed and transformed American society, and now he opens his mouth and speaks against our war. They know the potential of that man. And so they ended his life. Well, human potential could transform the world. Human potential could make this a living heaven. Human potential has given us the internet. Human potential has given us the possibility of visiting other planets. Human potential gave us this wonderful music and dance and the artistic expression that we so much love. But as I said, there are people who are frightened of human potential, and they want to damp it down. There are people who are frightened of TEDxHarlem because you are feeding human potential. And so we better be very clear about what this is and what it is that we are doing. Now, the problem I have is I have too much to say and too little time to say it in. This is a concept slide. If you look at that green line going across the top, we're talking about life itself. Or we could be talking about your life as an individual that when you were born or when life began, whenever that was, it was at 100% potential to overcome the forces of non-existence. And if left alone, that life would continue through time eternally. Even your individual life doesn't actually have a limit, except that there are things in the world that push your potential survival down to zero, and we call that death. Look at the red line. That's what we know life to be. You start out as a little baby. You're a genius. You're the most creative thing on the planet. Your body can do anything. But then as the years go by, the red line shows a decline. And that is the fall of you. Come to think of it, that's the fall of humanity. So much potential that seems to go to naught. As a matter of fact, that's the fall of Adam in the Bible, isn't it? Where God says, be fruitful and multiply, have power and dominion, subdue the earth. And the devil was there, and he deceived Adam out of that birthright. And how did he do it? Let me see. He got Adam confused on the issue of food. And when he ate the wrong food, that was his fall. Guess what? That's yours too. If you live in a food desert, you can be born with all of the potential in the world, but if you live in a food desert and you can't get your food, guess what happens to that potential all too soon? So look at the blue line. That's what I do at Abundant Life Health Attainment Center. It used to be called Abundant Life Clinic, but then that sounds too negative. That's a part of the old health paradigm. What we want is a new health paradigm that is based on the recovery of human potential, and you do that with food. Now, the time is ticking. Now, this is one of the solutions. That in the background, you see a hoop house. That's how you transform a food desert like Harlem into a food oasis. You build hoop houses on all the vacant lots, on the flat rooftops, on the parking lots. You put a hoop house there, and you engage in intensive urban agriculture to produce high-quality food to keep the potential of the people at its peak. This is something that I invented called green cake, and I'll talk more about that later because it's based on using all of the original foods that were a part of the beginning of the earth itself. If food is life and life is food and you are what you eat, then it means that if you eat food that is original with life itself, then you are restoring to yourself the possibility of your original potential as a being. Does that make sense to you? This is what I have in my hand. That's a refractometer. The chef said we should eat apples, but before I eat apples, I put it to a test with this refractometer. I take 2 drops of juice from the apple or the orange or whatever it is, and I measure it to see what the bricks value of that fruit is or that produce is, because things ain't always what they seem to be. Many of us are fastidious and conscientious about our diet. We are eating the right food in name. But are the vitamins and minerals and the other nutritive factors that we expect to be there, are they really there? And the answer is a resounding no. You are what you eat. I say it a different way. You are what you ate. What you are today is based on what you ate yesterday. You are a living being, and you have a body, and it is your body, and it is your responsibility to care for it. It's up to you to feed it or not. If you will not feed your body, then your body will leave you and let you down. Eat or be eaten means that weakness comes into your body when you don't eat your right food. When a part of you becomes weakened through malnutrition, then other living things begin to feast on you. Viruses and bacteria, molds and whatnot, they eat on you. You call it an infection, and it takes you out of here. You became somebody's food because you wouldn't eat your own. Life is the synergy of nutrition. Your body is composed of all of the vitamins, the minerals, the proteins, the fats, the oils, all of the things that you ate. That's where your body comes from. That's why modern medicine doesn't work. The body is the result of food. The body has never been the result of drugs. If something is wrong in the body, it's because there's something missing in the food. If you want to fix what's wrong in the body, you have to fix the food. How do you do that? Well, what you eat, what you will be tomorrow depends on what you eat today. So what should you eat? I'm going to quickly go through these. You should be reaching for ancient foods. Why spirulina? Why chlorella? Because spirulina and chlorella were some of the first life forms on this planet, and they're edible to humans. 3.5 to 4 billion years ago, there was no atmosphere on this planet, and cosmic radiation reached the surface, and so here you have a life form that was able to withstand the harshest conditions that threaten survival. Well, now life has gone on, life has evolved. You are the most sophisticated life form on the planet. As far as we know, the most sophisticated in the universe. But in your sophistication, there's a vulnerability, there's a weakness that's due to your evolution. We don't want to give up our evolved sophistication, but at the same time, we can reach back and pick up the original food with the original potential to survive and give it to ourselves so we can keep going. Does that make sense? Grasses and herbs, 145 million years old, and from that we don't have a digestive system to eat grass, but cows do. So for the past 12,000 years, humans have been cultivating cattle. The first milk of a human being, the first food of a human being is milk. And from the milk of cows and goats and sheep and camels and other animals, we can find a food that contains within it all of the component parts that it takes to make and keep and sustain a body. The minerals, salts of the sea. How old is the sea? These are the minerals that are found swimming in the sea, but also swimming in your brain cells. In your car battery are mineral salts that are able to generate an electrical spark. Well, don't you need the same thing in your brain cell so you can generate an electrical spark, which we call a thought, an idea, so you can think? And so mineral salts, honey, 100 million years old, and pulse beans. These are some of the ancient foods. And I see I just ran out of time. So I just want to show you some more of these chocolate greenies. And I want to just show you real quickly wheat then and wheat now. You're eating wheat, but it's not what your grandmother ate. Look what happened to apples over the last 40 years, a 45% drop in nutrition. Look what happened to green beans, 60% down. Look what happened to corn. Look what happened to carrots, 75% down. You'd have to eat 4 carrots today to equal what 1 carrot had in 1950. Oranges, 40% down. Tomatoes, 75% down. The overall decline in food means that today, when you eat even the best foods, these are organic foods that have been tested, you're only getting 41% of what you think is there. So if you are what you eat, if your life and your human potential is based on what you have eaten, and even the best of what you can find is only 41%, does that mean that your human potential has been reduced to 41%? Can you really realize your dreams? Can you really fulfill your mission, your life's work at 41%? I don't think so. And so our responsibility to ourselves and to others is to build hoop houses all over Harlem. On every rooftop, every vacant lot, let the food grow, let the people flourish, let their potential bloom. Thank you.